silent world I can't believe. Aquarium thoughts, they drift and they sway like the gentle current at the end of the day. Neon tetra in a shimmering school, peaceful paradise, a calming jewel. Glowing guppies with tails like fire, whiskered catfish, their movements inspire. Drifting bubbles, a mesmerizing dance, lost in the moment, given a chance. Aquarium thoughts, they drift and they sway like the gentle current at the end of the day. Serene angelfish gliding with grace, a world of wonder in a watery space. The hum of the filter, a constant refrain, a symphony of life, washing away the strain. Worries dissolve in the calming blue. Aquarium magic, just for me and you. Aquarium thoughts, they drift and they sway like the gentle current at the end of the day. Emerald corridor sifting the sand, a miniature river held in my hand. So next time you're feeling stressed and low, just take a moment, watch the water flow. Aquarium thoughts, a calming sight, a little piece of peace beneath the gentle light.
Good morning, folks. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's it going today? How is it going? It doesn't look like Depths Unknown is streaming today, so I figured I might as well just jump on. That way I get the stream done and over with, because I do have a few things due today. I'm sure there's going to be some more people strolling in shortly. I was expecting to go at 9, and right now it's like 7:35, so we'll see how that goes. Anyways, good morning. I hope everyone's having a great day. And right now I'm probably talking to a few people in here as well as anyone watching the replay. Because basically I did go early, so people are probably not expecting me to go this early. But anyways, a few updates. Hey, good morning, Jeff. How's it going? Just a few updates here. If you look in the lower left-hand corner, that is my watch hours. Right now I am at 1,894. A couple of days ago, I did crack the 1,900 mark. I'm just trying to at least get to that 3,000 point and then move on from there. So I appreciate everyone who is watching the stream, watching my videos, watching the replays on my videos and live plays, live streams. That'd be great. That way you get that numbers bumped up. And the other thing I did this week was I decided to start up a second channel primarily for my shorts, primarily because I just figured it was going to be a distraction to my main channel, which is where I have all my long form and my live streams. I just found that they really added no immediate value to the channel in terms of getting to where I need to be. And there's a lot of times I wanted to do shorts, but I just didn't want to clog up the channel. So that's why I created the second channel, which is Aquarium Thoughts Fry Tank. That way I could put all my shorts there, and because there's a lot of shorts I wanted to make, but I just didn't. Because like I said, I didn't want to distract from the long forms I had up there and spam the crap out of you guys with shorts, which I'm sure some of you do enjoy watching, which is why I still have them on a second channel. That way I could share that out. And it's at pretty much at youtube.com @frytank. Well, youtube.com/@frytank, which is a surprise thing I actually had. Let me see here. Let me post a link to the chat here. But in order to do that, I do need to. Oops, no, wrong person. I need to add as moderator my my second channel here. Let's see here, and I'll post that in the chat here, which is the link to the second channel. So give me 1 second while I do that. Anyways, how's it going, Jeff? How's your week? And there we go. That should hopefully take you to my second channel there, which is shorts, which I did add one so far, which was my quick tour, which was my quick tour of the reef tropical fish, which is I did a long form on my main channel. So it's going. Yeah, it's been a rough week for me. I've been spending a lot of time doing other things. Let's see here. Trolls. Yeah, and let me see if the the bot should be working this morning too. I think it's working. I didn't quite test it yet, but it should be working. So if you do the exclamation point S, it should add
Aquarium thoughts. Frighting said hello and good morning.
Yeah, it works. Okay, gotcha. Well, at least I heard it on my side. But also, as a friendly reminder, I still do have stickers. Name your own price. So if you want them for free, you can mark it down for free. You can find those at aquariumthoughts.com/stickers, I think. Well, you can find them at aquariumthoughts.com and just look up for stickers, and it should pop up right there. Yeah, not enough time in the day. Yeah, and currently my mother-in-law is in the hospital, so I kind of been spending a lot of time there visiting her, and that's pretty much right after this stream. I will be going there, which is why I was kind of grateful, at least being able to go a little bit earlier today. That way, I could get the stream out of the way. But I did want to stream this. I did want to stream this morning. That way, I at least got that out. And this one's pretty much today. I'm going to be going over. Keep in mind this is the censored version, which is Shirty Aquariums. Basically, going over r/Shirty Aquariums and going over some posts there, talking about fish care in terms of making sure you have proper tanks and all that. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Reddit. They do have some posts of some crappy aquariums out there. But yeah, definitely not enough time in the day. So especially when I'm working and then I get home and I'm like just tired as whatever. But today is Sunday, which is why I do like streaming on Sundays, because basically I have the whole day to just do stuff. And yeah, part of the list is my live stream. And today I actually came prepared with something to drink, so I could actually drink rather than having to pause and go. So what is your opinion, Jeff, on the Shorts channel? I know some people say Shorts doesn't really add to the channel, which is one reason why I'm kind of doing that. I just kind of wanted to separate my long form with my Shorts. Because a lot of times what I found is I want to do a short, but I didn't want to just detract from the long form videos I had at the time. Yeah, I hope things going well. She's doing better. She still has some pain, but there's other health issues that we're kind of trying to deal with right now. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to reduce the activity on that thing. But Yeah, it's hard to maintain 2 channels. Yeah, it could be. But I'm going to try it out, see how it goes. Like I said, my other channel is just for shorts. So if I have any like short videos of my aquariums to post, that's where they're going to go. So it's not like there's a lot of maintaining to that. It's not like I'm really going through and editing. A lot of shorts, I really don't edit much. I kind of just splice it in, add music to the background. And a lot of times on the phone, if it's like shorter than 1 minute, you could just easily add music to that. Primarily, of course, my main channel is this one, which is Dave's Aquarium Thoughts, and that's primarily where I'm going to put my major focus to. Like I said, there's just sometimes I wanted to share out a YouTube short, but I kind of didn't want to because basically I already had like a long form up. Like I just released one during the day, and all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, here's a nice interesting video I wanted to share out in short version. But I didn't want to just post it to my main channel because that kind of bumps down the long form I had up. That's primarily the thought process. And I find that since the shorts really don't add easily to getting to my goal of monetization, I doubt any of my short videos are going to really advance to a point where I could get that. What is it like? I think what it is. I think for the first set, I think it's like 1 million views in 90 days, and I think if you go to the other monetization, it takes like 10 million views over 90 days, which I don't think my shorts are viral enough to get to that point. And looking at other people, what they say about actually monetization on them, you really don't get much. I mean, yeah, it's nice that you could actually take a short video and direct it towards a long form video. But what I find out is just it's really not doing that for most people. If people are watching short videos, they're really not looking into a long-term video. They're just kind of basically scrolling through the shorts. And you might have a few people here and there, maybe going and looking at your long form, but that's just my thought process on the whole second channel thing. But yeah, it's kind of be a little more trickier making sure I'm uploading to the right channels or not. But yeah, you don't get much from a long video. Yeah, from what I've heard, you get even less from a short video. So I think the primarily people actually get monetization for is the like the super chats and the membership things, and being a you pull new subs in with shorts. Yeah, I don't think I was pulling in. I would have to look at my analytics, but I really don't think I was pulling any new subscribers from that. I was getting views on there. I was getting views from it. I don't think I was getting subs through them. But like I said, I would have to look through my my analytics on that. But so let me see if I can take a quick look here. Because I know I had my CChem title mod short, and that seemed to be that seemed to get good traction in terms of actually getting views. But I really don't think it pulled in any subs per channel per chance. Let me see here. Let me see content. Let me see if I can pull that up. Shorts. Yeah, I mean, through all my shorts, I had it only pulled in eight subscribers. That's all my shorts. The shorts I did, and I think I got. Let's see here. See, I don't know how many overall I have from shorts, but yeah. But like I said, I only through all my shorts I had, I only pulled in 8 subscribers, as opposed to if I do look at my videos, That's where I really pulled all my subs. That and probably my live streams. Let me see here. Let me go back to shorts here. And I really don't think the 8 subscribers is... They adjusted the payout on shorts. I'd have to research more on that. But trying to find individual shorts. That's not what I wanted. See more. Let me see. Yeah, I think the biggest one that I actually pulled subscribers. One was my short on my Congo Tetras in the morning. That pulled in 3. All the other ones aren't really pulling in any videos, any subs, anyways. So it looks like they're just kind of just going from short to short. Even my hung, when I took a short of Hungsloy, I got a lot of views on that one, but I only gained 1 sub from that one. Let's see here. Where's my CChem one? Let me see where my CChem one is. Sorry, I should probably be sharing this since I'm talking about it, but like I said, it's kind of hard to see where the payout is when I'm not quite to that point where I'm monetized yet. But oh yeah, here it is. In my modding the CChem title, I got a lot of comments on that one in terms of, thanks for the thing, but out of all that, I only got like 1 sub to that, so they're really not going from shorts to my long forms. Let me see here. Shorts feed. I mean, yeah, my shorts are getting a lot of views from the shorts feed, but let me see here. Content type. Let me go to it's still not as good as long form, but live streams don't pay out the same as long form. Yeah, I mean, the one thing you're getting from the live streams is if people give you super chats or they become members. Although honestly, I'm not really expecting much from this, but it'll just be at least decent enough to actually pull in something. That way I could actually buy stuff and actually go towards the channel. Let me see here. Yeah, because let me see. Let me go from looking at my long form traffic source over the. Let me go yearly here. I think see, I'm looking at this, and here my views I only got like from related shorts. I only got 1 view from my shorts, so it's really not transferring to long view. It's not, my shorts aren't converting to long form, so people watching the shorts aren't really watching my long ones. So I think it makes sense in that kind of sense to actually do that. But I'll see. Maybe in the future I'll change my mind on that. But that's just where I'm at right now. But I'm trying to think. Most of my views actually seem to come from YouTube search, and then it goes external links, and then browse features and suggested. Everything else is like lower than that. Like I said, related shorts is only getting me 1 view, and that's on the yearly chart. But yeah. Okay. But yeah, the one thing that the live streams do give you is, of course, watch hours. And that's one thing I found is that I've been getting a lot of I get a lot more watch hours when I do these live streams. But let me see here where I'm at. Yeah. But whoops. Don't know. Sorry, it's too close to my aquarium. I bumped into it. But yeah, I'll see where my channel goes. I'll see how this whole separation goes. Like I said, I probably will still do a few shorts here and there on my main channel. I just didn't want it to distract. Like if I find a interesting subject for a short that I really want to share, but I really don't think it's fits too well to my main channel, I'll do that. Like my short I just did on the reef tropical tank, probably later this week, I probably will repost that to my main channel as well. But it's just I kind of want to separate most of my shorts separately, if that makes any sense to you. But anyways, I guess since it's been it's been 23 minutes. I guess it's been enough time for people to find my live stream. I know a lot of people are probably expecting me to go later. I only went earlier today because primarily I don't think Depths Unknown is streaming this morning. At least it didn't pop up. It's not popping up on my YouTube side. So he must be busy this morning. But anyway, so let's go ahead and get to the crappy aquariums and go from there. This one I don't think I found enough good ones like I did last time, but I think most of these do come up with other. This one's more. The ones I found on this one seem to be more looking into like what's the word? Overstock tanks more than anything, or smaller than normal tanks. But anyways, let's go ahead and pull this up. This is Surety Aquariums. Of course, that is kind of that is censored. But yeah, primarily it's just crappy tanks. Kind of a live reaction to them. Let me find where I have. Let me pull that up right there. And this first one is basically coming up with Shocked. This is by Sus Milkers. This one had the person has 3 male bettas in one tank. And supposedly they say they're no longer aggressive. But as you can see, it doesn't look like it's going well in that tank. Looks like there's a lot of aggressiveness, which does happen when you are looking at multiple fish that don't agree with each other. If you have especially with bettas, you really don't want to mix them. I know a lot of people do have female sororities, and even then that could be a little tricky. That's why you definitely need to watch your fish. And having 3 male bettas in one tank is probably going to be crappy. And it looks like we got a few new viewers. Anyways, good morning for those who have popped in. I am going over crappy aquariums and trying to do like as much as a live reaction to them as I can. Give my comments. But definitely when you are doing this, you definitely need to keep an eye on the fish. And you probably don't want to have multiple male bettas in the same tank. And unless you have a really large enough tank where it all works out. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying you probably need a large enough tank with a lot of sight lines being hidden. But for the most part, multiple male bettas do not go well. And you're not going to be successful. And you're going to have a lot of fighting. You're going to have a lot of nipped fins. And probably eventually a lot of dead fish, which is not the goal in fish keeping. And let's see, looking at my Congo tetras today, they look beautiful today. They seem to be getting it looks like all the males are kind of like playing with each other. But anyways, let's see which way to go here. Alrighty. And this next one is a table aquarium. I really, really love the concept. I love the concept. Feasibility, though, I'm not quite sure how well in feasibility it works. Primarily because, yeah, you have a little glass. You can actually sit there, eat, drink, or whatnot, and watch the fishes. Like this one looks like you have a clownfish in there. The one downside I do see on that is stressing out the fish too much. Because primarily you're clanging plate, you're clanging silverware on the table, and it's just going to be a stressful situation for those fish. and it's probably not something you really want to have in the tank. So, I mean, I love
Aquarium
the concept.
thoughts. Fry Tank said, Good morning, everyone.
Which I really don't think that's a situation where you want. I think it's going to be. I love the concept. I just don't think in the long run it's going to be a good situation where basically you're gonna end up stressing out the fish more than the actually enjoyment from it is. I mean, if it's like a coffee table or like just like a table off to the side where you're not like constantly there, I think for the most part, I think it'd be a good idea, good concept. I just don't think it's a good concept when you're actually having a lot of people there. I know I've seen other videos where I've seen restaurants where they have the floor flooded, and they have like koi fish and whatnot swimming around there. Which I love the concept, but I think in the end, feasibility wise, I don't think it's good for the fish, and it's just going to exert extra stress to them, especially when you're like clinging stuff and just having a lot of movement. The one downside of my streaming setup right now is, yeah, I'm kind of here. I'm probably stressing out the fish a little bit being here, but it's only a temporary thing. I'm only here for about an hour, so I think I'm fine on that. But and even then, they're kind of be doing their own little thing. And it looks like one of my male tetras are kind of looks like they're entertaining a female Congo tetra. But yeah, I love the concept. I just don't think feasibility wise, I don't think it's a good situation. But like I said, you just have too much movement, a lot of stress on the fish. And of course, this next one right here is, now this is one of those where the tank is way too small. And this appears to be a goldfish. It looks like it's a goldfish, or is that or is it worse, or is it a iridescent shark? I think that's an iridescent shark. It looks like a goldfish because it just turned white. But overall, this tank is definitely too small for one iridescent, let alone two. And it looks like you have a third fish right there, which looks like a glowfish Daniel, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, definitely, this tank is definitely way too small. Definitely, you want to get a larger tank for these fish. I think with iridescent sharks, which I forget I'm not quite sure on the technical name for them, but I do think they get large. Let me see how large they get. How large do iridescent sharks get? So let's see what a pistol butt. Oops, I misspelled that one. Okay, oops. How large do iridescent sharks get? Okay, now I think I actually got the right spelling on a pistol butt. Top is iridescent, bottom is goldfish. Yeah, that's what I thought. Iridescent sharks could grow up to 3 feet long in aquariums. They need a large tank to accommodate their size. Yep, exactly. I don't know. I thought, yeah, maybe that is a goldfish. Maybe that is a goldfish. Maybe the person asking the question maybe is confused, because basically. Yeah, but basically the person asked, okay, the iridescent shark is turning white, which as you can see, it's turning white. I mean, maybe that is a goldfish. Now, the top one is the iridescent shark. Oh, okay. I see the question. Okay, I see this. I see the thing in question. They're talking about that white stuff on the iridescent shark. Good morning, Vinoski. How's it going? Good morning, Fish Fam. Link, how's it going? Yeah, okay, I see what the question is. So yeah, I think that one is the goldfish. I just didn't really see the white stuff on the iridescent shark. I just didn't see the white stuff on the iridescent shark. But nonetheless, this is definitely, the tank is definitely not large enough for those two, let alone one of them. It's probably large enough for that little guy right there. But then again, that little guy would appreciate more friends of their type. Yeah, thanks Jeff for that point out. I was totally wrong on that. I thought that was a goldfish. I thought that was, but then I was looking at the question on the post, but then I didn't realize that the white stuff that they're talking about was on the iridescent shark in general right there. That I did not see. Yeah, I was wrong on that one, and I was just assuming that it was going to be iridescent shark. But nope, that is a goldfish then, just like my original thought was. And the white stuff is that one, but nonetheless, it's probably some kind of illness, primarily because it is overly stressed out from being in a small, tiny tank. Definitely not large enough for the fish, especially when they get up to, according to ChatGPT, you get up to 3 feet long. Even if it gets to 1 foot long, that's way too small of a tank for it. They definitely need a larger tank. And that's another one of those lovely fish that you see in the fish store, and like, hey, it's a small little fish, let's pick it up. And next thing you know, it becomes a 3-foot monster. Yeah, let's see. How many things in this picture look wrong to you? And this one's sent in by Ender's Game Reviewer. First of all, the first thing I see is the stand is not a stand. It looks like it's holding the tank, but it's not long enough for the tank. And on that one, you're probably going to have overly stressed out sides. Oops. Where the sides of it are probably not going to survive. Yeah, Jeff says, I believe there are albino iridescent sharks now, but that's definitely a fungal growth on the top fish. Yeah, I kind of figured it was some kind of illness. Fungal probably sounds about right. But yeah, I was too busy looking at the question on hand and all that. But yeah, this tank. I mean, I've seen people have aquariums like this where they have it like this, where they have the ends kind of not supported. Which I would probably not do that long term. I would have some added support. If you're gonna have a stand like this, you definitely want to have at least a nice piece of plywood underneath that to go out towards the ends of the aquarium. But overall, the water in this aquarium looks terrible. Looks cloudy. Looks like you have a couple fish in there, and that fish looks like it's struggling. Yeah, I don't know what kind of fish those are. That one kind of looks like it's a platy, but that one looks like a goldfish, but they probably are all goldfish in there. And I think this post right here, if I remember right, when I opened it, I think this is one of those that they found on Craigslist. So this one probably would have been a nice one to actually put into the Price is Right game. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, it looks like you have a large enough filter for that. Jeff says I have one end off, but not both. I've had one end off, but not both. I think it's just the chance. I think it's just the. I think a lot of times it's just a chance. The risk factor. If you're going to do that, you probably do want to have it as centered as possible, or at least it kind of the stress kind of just focuses on that one area. But primarily, you probably do want to have some support underneath the whole thing. Or if you're going to do that, you probably want to have some wood to expand out towards the edges, which kind of focuses all the weight into the area that it's supporting from. Because these ends would probably want to sag down. But primarily, on that one, it's probably long enough you're probably fine where you're not going to have issues. But it kind of in the long run, you might have a issue with tank bursts. But yeah, most of the weight is probably going to be focused on that middle part. It's all about surface area and the weight on the surface area. The two ends are the important part, yeah. Yeah. You definitely want to at least have it to where the ends are kind of transferring the support somewhere. The ends. Yeah, I see a lot of. I do see a lot of fish stores where they just have the pieces of wood on the ends, not so much the middle part. So the middle part. Yeah, you probably do want more support on the end parts. I think, yeah, Jeff, you're definitely right on that one. Primarily, it's just about weight distribution as well. I mean, you could probably get away with this for a good amount of time, but overall, in the end, you probably are going to have issues down the line. But if you do wood pieces that extend out towards the end, you're probably fine. You're probably all the weight is probably transferring along that piece. But you definitely want to have more support on the end pieces. That's why, I mean, I do have the whole piece covered, but the ends are going to be where you want it. The middle can cause blowouts. Now, Jeff, if you have say if you get like a couple long pieces of ply, like on this stand right here, if you have a couple of long pieces like 2x4s that stretch out along the whole length of the aquarium, would you be fine on that, or would you just recommend just having the whole stand lengthwise to fit the whole tank? What would you say on that? But I think if you do have those two plywoods that extend out from here to here and have the support in the middle, I think you should be fine. No, as long as the plywoods are not the plywood or the 2x4s holding the whole length, where then that all the weight will transfer towards the middle, but all the weight would be kind of transferring up too. No, please correct me if I'm wrong on that one, because I'm trying to think. But then you probably do run the issue where if the ends are kind of bowing down, you probably gonna have the eventual issue of bursting. But like, at least in this one, you don't have any support whatsoever on the ends, which will cause all the weight going down there, like you said, bursting. I mean, I think it'd be fine, but please let me know what you think. Yeah, that's a curious subject right there. You definitely do want to make sure your take sand will support your tank. All four edges evenly, or just two ends are the best chance for longevity. But if you have the situation where this one is, I mean, probably not going to be the best. But at least if you have the 2x4 stretching out the length of the aquarium, you're probably better. But then in the long run, you probably are better off making sure all the support is on the ends. Yeah, all four edges evenly, or just two ends are the best. Okay, gotcha. Now, when you say all four edges, you're probably talking about the front and the back and the side, I'm assuming. So that's what I'm assuming when you say all four edges. Not like an edge here and an edge down back here. I'm thinking you're talking about like the front and back and then the side, I'm guessing. And that's what I'm assuming it is. But yeah, you definitely do want to make sure you actually have proper support. But this tank does not have that, does not have the proper support. Yeah, looks like it has a large enough filter, but for some reason it's coming with cloudy water. I'm guessing looking at that water level right there, you can see that they do have a lot of evaporation on the edges. So it looks like they kind of fill up the water and just let it evaporate. Which you're probably not doing your water changes, because if you do your water changes, you're probably removing water and filling it back up to the top. And it looks like on the edges right there, you can see the water line right there. The water line is low. and it looks like you had water. You can kind of see like scale build up on there, where it looks like the water level was higher. So it definitely looks like you had a lot of water evaporation. Yeah, this person definitely wasn't taking care of the tank, which is probably why they were kind of selling it on Craigslist or Facebook. So definitely, yeah. Jeff says yes, the frame. Gotcha. Anyways, on to the next one shortly. Yeah, but yeah, definitely this is a nice large tank. It's probably big enough for the fish that are in there. And it's just not properly supported and doesn't look like they do the water changes enough where you get that cloudy water. And who knows, maybe it's not even a properly cycled tank to begin with. Yeah, definitely not taking care of their tank on this one. And here you go. Here's a WTF. Look at all those lovely fish. I mean, the water looks clear. The setup looks clear. Everything looks nice in there. The glass looks nice and clean. Everything looks nice and clean. However, the tank is definitely too small for what you have in there. Looks like is that a snake? Is that a snakehead? Sorry, I'm not quite sure. Is that a snakehead? Can you please confirm what kind of fish that is? But like kind of, you looks like you have some arowanas in there as well. Hey, it looks like you have the one fish that was at the fish store, which I'm not sure what it was. And there's just a lot of going on in this picture. You have looks like a shovel nose, if I'm not mistaken, on that one. Definitely looks nice. Looks beautiful. Water looks clear. The glass looks clear. And it's just not a big enough tank for what's in there. I'm hoping this was just a temporary thing, but definitely a lot of going on. Okay, Arapaima. Okay, that's what it is. Arapaima. Definitely gets larger than that tank's gonna hold. Okay. Yeah, definitely a lot going on there. Definitely a lot of large fish in one small tank. I'm not even sure how big that tank is. I mean, it looks big enough for a lot of fish. Just not those fish. Just not those fish. And it looks okay. It looks like they have some. The poster on here, Alpine White Lever, says they have sturgeons in there too, which is cold water. Okay, okay. I think what I called was shovel nose. I think that is what they think is a sturgeon, which is a cold water fish, and they're keeping up with warm water fish. And I'm not sure what that fish is either. But anyways, definitely a lot of large fish and too small of a tank. Definitely need a larger tank for that one. Like I said, I don't know if this was a permanent one or a temporary one, but either way, if you're having a display tank like this, it's definitely not large enough for what fish you're keeping in there. And you probably don't want to have a temporary setup like this for whatever you're doing it on. But I know sometimes people do videos, they kind of do a temporary solution. They just throw all the fish in one tank, and then eventually afterwards, hopefully they are taking them all out. But yeah, definitely need a larger tank for that one. Let me see, how big of a tank does the Arapaima need? And let's ask ChatGPT on that one. Oops. How big tank for Arapaima? Oops. Hopefully I'm spelling that right. And let's see what ChatGPT says. Let's see, ChatGPT says the Arapaima will eventually need a massive tank, at least 1,000 gallons when fully grown. Yep. I mean, I probably wouldn't even have that tank for a fry, maybe, but definitely need a larger tank than that. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. This is a Craigslist post, no, wait, no. This might be a Facebook Marketplace. Definitely a lot of things going on here. Looks like they have a good size fish tank in the back. Although I don't know if you want that size for those fish that are in that little bowl. Looks like that little bowl is just a temporary solution. I'm assuming that they're going to be moving it to that large one back there, which I'm not sure how big that even is. That might be I want to say that's a 20-gallon tall, just by the look of scaling sizing it. Looks like a 20-gallon long, which is definitely going to be too small for what you have in there, because those eventually will get larger. And then, I mean, then they have that clown gravel, which is not for me. But I'm not gonna cut them. I'm not gonna say it's crappy just because they choose to have that gravel. Definitely not the kind of gravel I would have. But primarily, I'm looking at the size of that tank back there, and the size of the bowl right there is way too small for anything. And maybe a couple snails, maybe some shrimp, maybe. But definitely not for fish. Definitely not. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 goldfish in there. Oh wait, hold on. Let me count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 in there. Definitely, in that tank in the background is definitely not large enough for that 20-gallon in the back. But it looks like they're trying to sell something. I don't know if they're trying to sell the fish tank in the back or the fish bowl, but they're selling for $50, which is quite way too much for what they're selling there. But I think that's only a 20-gallon. I'm going to say that's a 20-gallon tall, just by the looks of it, just by scaling. Could be worse. Could be a 10-gallon. I'm not quite sure how big that fish bowl is. There's really no bananas for scale, so I'm not quite sure on how big that really is. But my guess would be a 20-gallon tall. The one behind me down on the ground, that's a 20-gallon long, which I like that form factor much better than the 20-gallon tall. Once you're going that height, you might as well just go the 20-gallon, which is the 29-gallon, which is the length of the 20-gallon long and the height of the 20-gallon. But yeah, definitely way too small for what you're looking at right there. Yeah, I don't even know why people even sell these fish bowls. The fish bowls are not big enough for anything at all, except for, like I said, maybe if you want to just have like an aquatic plants in there with maybe a few snails, maybe a shrimp or two, maybe. Even then, you're probably not going to have a good experience watching those in a little tiny bowl. You probably don't have a heater in there, which a lot of shrimp probably do like warmer water than just regular room temperature, and unless you have your room warm enough. But definitely nothing in there is going good. I know, like I said, I know a lot of people are probably going to clown on them for the clown gravel right there. But like I said, if people want to have that rainbow gravel, it's their prerogative. And it's not for me. I like a more natural look. Yeah, definitely not my type. Definitely not my type of gravel. But then again, I don't care what other people carry as long as the fish are taken care of, and as long as it's big enough. If you want to have yeah, Jeff says his fish bowl works great for breeding killies. Yeah, I suppose there is I guess there's special uses for them. But I think a lot of times when people buy fish bowls like that, they're just primarily just having for decoration, and they're definitely keeping fish in there that are too small for it. What kind of killifish are you breeding in those, Jeff? Fish bowls probably do work great for like minor transportation as well, but definitely not my cup of tea. You definitely want to maybe make sure with anything. There's always purpose for a lot of things. Although I know a lot of people actually use like larger tubs, just tubs for breeding. But how big is your bowl as well? Is it a big enough bowl for that? I know a lot of those bowls are really, really small and tiny. Although they do make bigger bowls. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look through. Do you have your bowls that you breed gillies? Do you have videos on that, Jeff? I would be really curious on that setup. I'm assuming you put the sponge mops on the top that float. Yeah. Now I'm just rambling. In the bowl, clown killies. It's a 3.5 gallon bowl. Yeah, so that's I mean, clown killies, those are like small, so that probably works for it. And I always forget about those small, tiny fish. I always forget about those. Because I typically don't go that small because a lot of fish I keep are larger, and they definitely would not do well in tanks with the bigger fish. Yeah. So I guess there's a purpose for anything and everything. If you can make it work, then make it work. Oh, there might be even a live stream on it. I will have to look that up and find that somewhere. I'll be interesting on that. Yeah. I mean, as long as the fish is small enough for that bowl, most fish are not going to be small enough for that bowl. But I think with clown killies, they are really, really small and tiny. So you're probably fine in a 3.5 gallon. How big do clown killies get? It's getting reset for your wife's betta soon. See, clown killies typically grow to be about 1 inch to 2 inches long, making them a small, colorful addition to your aquarium. Yeah. Yeah. Reset for a beta. Yeah, as long as you're keeping an eye on it, and as long as you're doing the proper maintenance on that, you're probably fine. Definitely not my cup of tea. But as long as you make it work, you make it work. I'm more of a fan of larger tanks. Even when I had bettas, I typically kept them in at least a 10 gallon. But that's my personal preference. As long as you're doing your proper maintenance and making sure that the the fish are doing proper. I'm assuming you probably keep your house warm enough where you're not having an issue with the water temperature, which I know a lot of the one issue is a lot of people do like bettas with warmer water. The lowest maintenance tank. Speaking of maintenance, I probably do need to do my water changes on these tomorrow, along with a lot of other things I need to do. And it looks like I do need to pull out a lot of the plants that are dying off in here. Apparently, a lot of the hygrophilas don't quite like the sanded soils, although the spiral, the corkscrew valve's doing well, and these little swords are doing well. I'm not quite sure on the marble sword, but I'll have to see if I can keep an eye on that one. And of course, considering my view is not on that tank, you probably can't see it. And I didn't realize I had my video playing in the background on this. But yeah, low maintenance tanks are always great. That's primarily what I had in my tubs. They're pretty low maintenance. I had them on a auto water change system. They probably grew too much algae for my liking, but but yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I got rid of them. I kind of kind of hard to maintain a lot of things when I'm at work. There we go. There we go. And it's another lovely one from Marketplace, which is one of those glowfish tanks, which is it would probably be nice if you have a small enough fish for them. But it looks like they have 3 goldfish in there, which is probably not going to do well in the long run. This would probably be a decent sized globe for maybe a betta. But once those goldfish get larger and create more waste, it's probably not going to be a smart idea to keep them in there. But as long as you're doing your water changes, who knows? Maybe you can make it work. I don't know how big this globe is. Let's see here. Apart from the fish, new pump. Yeah, I probably want to keep goldfish in there. I'd probably keep a betta in there, but I'm not gonna knock the globe aquarium here. I'm not quite sure how big that is. Maybe some shrimp. This probably be a nice one to have, like some plants and some shrimp. But I probably wouldn't keep 3 goldfish. Speaking goldfish, how are your koi doing there, Jeff? I saw what the I don't know if it's the live stream or the shorts. I think it was the shorts. See you later, Jeff. Have a good day. Have a great Sunday, folks. And thanks for stopping by and participating there, Jeff. I mean, as far as this globe, I really don't know how big it is to start off with, so I really can't say. But just looking at the proportions of those goldfish in there, having 3 in there, it'll probably be fine for a while, but you probably do want to find a larger home eventually. And here's the another one of those lovely stands, which I'm not even sure if that stool is going to hold up to that tank. Once again, this is one of those lovely tanks where primarily all the weight is on the middle. But at least this time they have the plywood or piece of wood kind of stretching across the way, which hopefully is transferring the weight to the middle. But then again, that stand, you're probably gonna find out that stand right there, that stool is gonna give out before. But then again, it is only a 10-gallon. It's only a 10-gallon. So with a 10-gallon, you're probably looking okay on this. But eventually, I would worry about the stand giving out. You're probably having, what, 100 pounds on that stool? And I think that's more of a decorative stool than a stool that people sit on. So I'd be curious on how well that'll hold up. I mean, yeah, you do have that, looks like it's a piece of plywood there that is kind of dispersing all that weight to the middle. But then again, you're probably going to have some issues if the edges do kind of bend down. Which that's the primary focus you're probably going to worry about, is that wood warping eventually, where then you put more pressure on the sides. But overall, once again, you have a tank that is not being taken care of. You can see where they have all that water evaporating out. That's a number of gallons. If that's 10-gallon, that's probably 3 gallons of water that's evaporated out of there. And you could tell that they had water in there. You could see the water scale in there. So they're definitely not doing the water changes. And they do have a number of large fish in there. Probably larger than I would want to carry in a 10-gallon. I mean, there's those small fish. The small fish in there are probably fine. Although the one fish I'd worry about is this larger fish. Sorry, I'm not quite sure what fish that is. Kind of shape-wise, it kind of looks like it's a, I want to say that's some sort of gourami. Please correct me in the chat or the replay if you're watching this. I'm not quite sure what kind of fish that is, but definitely not taking care of their tank. That, like I said, is probably 3 gallons worth. If that's a 10 gallon, that's probably like I'd say that's probably like 3 gallons of water evaporation. And you can see that that water has evaporated for a long period of time. Although with the tanks behind me, they evaporate pretty quickly too, and I'm constantly having to do water changes to fill it back up. But then again, when I'm doing my water changes, I am filling it all up. So definitely not taking care of their tank. And that fish, I would worry about the tank size on that. I'm not quite sure what kind of fish that is, honestly. Not a fish, I don't think. I want to say it's some kind of gourami, but I'm probably definitely wrong on that. I know there's... Hey, good morning. Love to trip on fish, aka RJ. How's it going this morning? Just talking about some crappy fish on Shirty Aquariums on the Reddit subreddit, and I am censoring that word, r/Shirty Aquariums. That R is supposed to be a T, but I am censoring it out, just like I censored out in the thumbnail. Anyways, good morning. Like I said, I was talking about this one, which looks like it has 3 gallons worth of evaporation on there. This is a 10 gallon on a stole, but at least they have that wood across the edges. Not the perfect stand, definitely. Only a 10 gallon, so it's not that heavy. I think the stool would probably hold it up, but I just don't think a 10 gallon is large enough for this fish. And honestly, I'm not quite sure what kind of fish that is. Please let me know if you know what fish that is. Definitely not a large enough tank, I think. And definitely not enough maintenance on that tank. I mean, it has a dark black water kind of look, so I'm not gonna, or it could just be the lighting. Water looks kind of clear enough, but once again, the water parameters on there are probably all shot to crap. Like I said, you have a lot of evaporation, and looking at the water scale in there, it does look like they did evaporate that out. And unless they just kind of keep that water at that level, but I doubt it with all that water scale that I could see on the glass. Anyways, I'm not quite sure how many more of these pictures I have, but it's closely approaching on the 1 hour mark, so I'm getting there. But anyway, thanks for joining on this Sunday morning. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and also check out my second channel, which is Aquarium Thoughts Fry Tank, which is my channel dedicated to YouTube Shorts. I explained why I did that in the beginning of my stream here, primarily because I did want to just separate my long form from my short form. I just found I'm not really getting the traction on my short form to transfer to my long form, so I'm trying to separate that out. And I probably will have some short form still on my main channel, but I'm kind of just separating them out, just so if I see a short form video I could share out, I could share that out without worrying about my main channel being hurt. Well, my long form video is being hurt by the people going to my short term. Anyways, moving on. And this person is saying that putting a dartboard right above the aquarium is a shirty move. Honestly, if you have a dartboard above the aquarium, if you're having solely as decoration, you're probably okay if it's solely as decoration. Now, if you are playing darts, I probably would rethink that, because basically you're probably going to have a lot of darts hitting the board, falling off, hitting the aquarium, going into the aquarium, although they have a lid, so you're probably not going into the aquarium. But you're probably having a lot of darts hitting the top, which are probably going to stress out the fish more than need be. But like I said, if you're having it solely as decoration, you are probably fine. Yeah, it looks like they are doing a water change at the moment in this picture, with just the way that they have the lid open and the water level. The water level is low, but it does look like they do take care of it, unless this is a new setup. But it doesn't look like you have the water evaporation lines on there. It looks like a well-kept tank, unless, like I said, unless like it's a new setup and they're just starting. But I like the lighting on that tank. Yeah, it's probably too bright for my liking, but yeah, definitely kind of looks like they're just kind of doing a water change. Just by looking at it, they do have there's a fish in there. There's at least one fish in there. Kind of hard to tell what fish that is, but they do have at least one fish in there. But looks like they're in the middle. I'm assuming they're in the middle of a water change, which is why they have that water level that low, just by the way that the lid is. But looks like it. But I'm not going to crap on the dartboard above it. If you're just using it solely as decoration, which I'm not quite sure what they're using it for, it could be decoration. I don't know the whole gist of it. I don't know the person who took the photo. I'm assuming they just have a decoration. They're like, hey, let's. I like the way a dartboard looks. I'm gonna have decoration. I'm gonna put it above my aquarium, which, in my opinion, is fine as long as it stays on the wall. I'm not gonna knock it unless you're actually playing darts. Then I might question it a little bit. But I'm not gonna think it's a shirty move unless you're playing darts. But that's just me. Oh, fun. Two fish in a small tank that are too big for the tank it is. This appears to be at a restaurant. According to the poster, this is on a counter at a restaurant. I see this plenty of time at some restaurants where they have big fish in small tanks, which is definitely not something you should probably be doing. Definitely with large enough fish. I'm assuming these are angelfish. And as you can see, doesn't look like the water's taken care of, unless it's a kind of maybe a blackwaterish kind of tank. But definitely not something I would want to see on a counter at a restaurant. I would probably rather see a tank like that where it's nicely aquascaped, nice clear water, nice little thing. But definitely having that on a countertop at a restaurant, I probably wouldn't want to see that at a restaurant. All right, question here from Marin Rosser. What are your thoughts on a Penguin Pro 125 filter on a 20 long? Is it enough filtration? Looking into getting one. I would probably think it's fine. Hey, Fishcapades, how's it going? Hey, everyone's joining here. 120. I think that's what I have on mine. Let me see. What size is my Penguin Pro on my 20-gallon long? I think that's exactly what I have on mine. Let me see here. I forget what model I have on mine. I think that's the same one I have on mine. Penguin Pro. Yeah, that's Marin. That's exactly what I have on my 20-gallon. I have the 125 on mine, and it works great. Hey, good morning, Daniel. How's it going? Right now, I am going over shirty aquariums. But right now, I'm going to take a break to answer this question from Marin Rosser. Let me see here. Let me go to my dual view here. Let me change. Yeah. That is exactly the size I have on my 20-gallon long right here, and it works great. I don't have it high flow, primarily because of my African butterfly fish. But yeah, it works great for my filtration needs. But as you can see, also I do have this plants growing on the top as well. But I think you're definitely going to be fine with a 125 on that. And this larger tank right there has the larger. This is the 40-gallon, which has the larger version. And I think with the 125, I think that's a perfect size for that. Let me see. Convert. No. Convert. Nope, that's not how you spell convert. But yeah, you're probably definitely fine with a 125 on the 20-gallon long. I think that's definitely going to be sufficient for the 20-gallon long. I do have mine. If you saw mine, I have it directly in the middle, kind of going across, and you do get the swirls around. So you should definitely be fine with that. And I think with the Penguins marine lens, I believe with their naming convention on those, 125 is typically the leaders, if I'm not mistaken. Big tank, Marine Penguin Pro 125. According to the website, it's okay. A power filter is designed up to 20 gallons, so you're pretty much right at the line right there on according to what they say is 20 gallons. So I would say you're probably definitely fine on that. Let's see. Doing good. Lunchtime at work. Really nice day today here in northern Michigan. Going to finish the workday up and head home and get our kids outside. Yep. And do have some algae cleaning. Let's see here. Anyone else do those dang co-op air collars? What are I have to look that up. What is the co-op air collar? Co-op air collar. What is the air collar? Let me see here. Sorry, I'm going to have to look it up. I really don't visit Aquarium Co-op much. Flow kit colors. What is the collar? Excuse me here. I'm going to look that up. That's not something I use, but I'm assuming it's air. Sponge filter air collar. Let me see here. Obviously, no, I don't use it. No, I don't use an air pump on my tanks. Yeah. Is it that one thing that kind of curves? Is that what you're talking about? The one that curves? Yeah, I have a feeling because I know the sponge filter with the curves. I've heard from I think what's his name, Alcoballs. He tried them out, and with the hard water, they kind of get all clogged up. But I'd have to see what you're talking about in terms of what that is. Yeah. Yeah, I think Aquaballs ended up with the same issue where basically it became a maintenance nightmare for him because basically with hard water in Southern California they clog up. If you have soft water, I think they're going to be better because I know Corey lives where he lives. He has soft water. Let's see. Daniel switched to the Aquarium silent HOP filter. They're real quiet, nice steady flow, and can be customized relatively well. Yeah, I eventually went for my titles. I eventually went to the Penguin Pro series, which I find is nice. I just had to switch out the intake sponge on my larger one to the Aquarium Co-op sponge. Yeah, I mean, I do notice a slight hum on my marine lens, but it's just a slight hum, nothing that's completely out of the ordinary on mine. Nothing extremely out of the ordinary. But anyways, back to this lovely shirty aquarium, this crappy aquarium. I definitely don't like the way this one looks. Definitely too small for the two fish that are in there. I'm assuming there's only those two fish. And definitely not something I would want to see walking to a restaurant. I would not want to see an aquarium like that. I think even if you're not a fish keeper, I don't think that'd be appetizing enough to go into a restaurant and see that crappy aquarium there. Doesn't look clean. Like I said, if it was this tank right here, I would love to see that in a restaurant. That would look nice, as long as it's well maintained and proper fish in there. But this small one that doesn't look like it's taken care of, definitely not something I want to see at a restaurant. See, Fishcapades. This is talking about aquarium filters. I've also noticed the intake pre-filter sponge included in the new Aquaclears clog super fast. Yeah, that's what I did with Fishcapades. That's what I did with the because on my Aquaclear, not my Aquaclears, my on my marine lens back here, I had the marine lens sponge on there, and that just clogged really fast, just like that. I eventually upgraded the one on the top here with the Aquarium Co-op core sponge, and it's been great for me. The flow's been nice and all that, but I did the same thing. I still need to get one for my bottom one. Unfortunately, no one's aquarium is out of stock on those. But yeah, going back to the restaurant one, Fishcapade says there's tanks like that in a restaurant by me full of goldfish in a Apache place. Yeah, I've seen plenty of horrible, crappy aquariums and restaurants like that. It's like, why are you having a crappy aquarium inside of a restaurant? That's not really advertising a good eating environment. I would love to see a tank like this one, as long as it's filled up properly and have a proper fish. This one, I think they're just in the middle of water change, but this one, I have no clue what this one is. Saying it's grim. I don't see where they're getting it from. Yeah, it looks like a nice setup. Doesn't look like there's any large fish in there, just by the picture. Anyways. I think a lot of it is just by the fact that they don't like the decor. I mean, yeah, I'd probably have more decor in there. But overall, I don't see anything wrong with this one. I think it's just their decor choice that they're using. I would want to have more decor in there. Another lovely one. Another lovely one here in a juice shop, another restaurant. This one looks like they have the juice in there. Looks like they're selling the juice out of the fish tank. Let's see. Daniel says, my local box store sells 2 sizes of the Marineland sponge proof filters. A little pricey at almost $8, but they work perfectly on your HO back filters. Yeah, I just found that the Marineland ones I had, the pre-filters, they just get clogged too easily. The Hulk tank, yeah. That's definitely a lot of algae going around. Which overall, I really, it looks like this is overgrown in algae. I don't have that big of an issue in algae, but it doesn't look like they maintain this tank because the water level is not high, but definitely not something you want to see walking into a juice shop. You really don't want to see an aquarium of what looks to be juice. But yeah, if you're having a display tank with algae, probably not a good display tank. Sometimes I do let my algae overgrow, but I have no problem keeping algae. If you look at my, let me go back to my other view. Grab my camera out here. This is my lovely algae wall. I just let the algae grow there. I don't care about it. I think it's I think it has its uses. Of course, I need to clean that glass right there. You can see some algae growing there. But that wall is my algae wall. I just let it grow. I just let it grow. But yeah, okay. Daniel shakes pre-filters out every 2 weeks. I don't sterilize them, but it keeps the gunk from building up. Yeah, I mean, if you're maintaining it like that, you're probably fine with them. My problem is I don't have the time to do that maintenance on them. I'd rather just do the maintenance on the inside of the filter because it's the easier access. It's easier to get to. I do have one of those pre-filters on the inside of my Penguin Pro. On the Al tank in there, I do have one of those filters in there. And when I had the pre-filter on the outside as well as the inside, it was just clogging up way too fast. At least with the pre-filter on the top of the tank, I could easily take that out and do your rinse out that you do. If I do it on this, I'm gonna have to reach in there. I have to grab it out, and I just find it to be messier than need be. So that's why I do it that way. I don't know if you're familiar with the inside of the Penguin Pros much, but there's a little container in there where the water flows into. I have that flowing into one of those pre-filters. I'd have to do the update on that and show that. But yeah. Anyways, back to the Surety Aquariums. Definitely, this one, like I said, it looks like the tank is just full of juice that they sell. Alrighty. And this one is a work tank. Small. Yeah, it looks like a gourami on that one. Yeah, okay, yeah, that is a gourami, I think. Which probably goes back to that other one I was showing, which looks like this one. Looks exactly like this one. This is definitely a tank way too small for the fish that's in there. Way too small. Way too small. Definitely need to. And the coworker in there, according to Northland 312, basically this is a coworker's tank and definitely way too small. Left to trip on fish. If they walked into a Chinese buffet and they had a dirty tank, I'd wonder what you're eating, or if you need a side hustle job to clean their tanks for them. Yeah, I would wonder that too. Like I said, you probably do not want to see a dirty fish tank walking to a restaurant. If they're not cleaning that, how are they cleaning the back? I don't know. And this is another lovely one where I have no clue what's going on with this one. This one's on the side, you can't really see, but this one I have no issue with because basically I can't see what's going on in this tank. I think this one's on here mainly for decor, which once again I'm not going to knock the decor. And if that's the way that they want to decorate it, so be it, as long as the fish fit into the size tank that you're using. And that's it. And that is Surety Aquariums. That is what I had out there. Definitely most of them on this time were overstocked or just not well maintained. But definitely, if you have an aquarium in a restaurant, you had a couple in there, you had one at a juice shop, you definitely want to make sure that the tanks are looking wonderful and clean. You don't want to look like you're selling juice out of there. Like Love to Trip on Fish says. Yeah, that's what they need to do. They need to hire Love to Trip on Fish so they can clean out the tanks for them. As a fish keeper, it actually angers me when I walk into a place of business and see that. It's like if you kept any other animal in obvious inhumane conditions on display, no difference to me. Yeah. Yep, exactly. You definitely want to make sure that the aquariums are nice and clean. Now, I mean, I could understand. I mean, if you're keeping fish at home and if you have a lot of algae, as long as it's not overgrown, you're probably fine keeping algae. Probably at least helps out your fish here and there. But if you're having a display tank like that, you definitely want to have it nice and neat. You want to make sure that it looks maintained. If they're not cleaning out algae in a display tank, are you really cleaning your restaurant that great?
Aquarium thoughts. Fry Tank said restaurants need clean display tanks.
Let's see. Yeah. PetSmart keeps their bettas in those cups dying on their sides under a spotlight. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the aquarium hobby that needs to change, but way people keep bettas in stores is one of them. They probably need to stop keeping them in their shipping containers. That's probably what those are. Those probably just their shipping containers. They keep them in their shipping containers when they get to the store, and they just keep them in there. Definitely need. I know a lot of. I've seen a few stores. They actually start. They're slowly getting to the point where they're having display tanks full of bettas, where they have multiple small little tanks, which are at least filtered, as opposed to just like a tiny little bowl with a lid on it that is just on display. You're definitely right on that, Fishcapades. PetSmart, as well as local fish stores, they need to do better on that. Even local fish shops, they're really bad at that. They keep them in those little bowls. At least with the local fish stores, I really don't see them with a spotlight under them. At least if you're keeping them, probably don't put them under a spotlight. Yeah, I've seen that too. Fishcapades. I've seen them. I've seen bettas in community tanks. And I think if you watch a few of my fish LFS fish store tours, you'll see some of that. You'll see some of the bettas in the community tanks. I think I've seen them here and there, which is a nice way to show that yes, you can have bettas in a community tank. A lot of people think, oh, bettas can only be by themselves. No, you can have them in a community tank. As long as the other fish are compatible with it, as well as the bettas don't attack them and the other fish don't attack their fins, you can keep bettas in with a community. As long as you're not having a lot of fin nippers, you're perfectly fine with that, which a lot of people don't understand that concept. Like this tank behind me, this the one that you can see with Congo tetras. That is not a tank for bettas, primarily because those Congo tetras will nip them, and probably the silvertip tetras will probably nip them as well. Let me see. But yeah, definitely need better conditions for bettas out in the world, out in fish stores. Definitely want to make sure that they're properly cared for. So how many of you have kept bettas in community tanks, out of curiosity? I've kept them before. I've kept a betta in a community tank before. Now, the one thing you definitely don't want to do is you definitely do not want to have. Let me pull that up. You definitely don't want to have bettas in a group with other male bettas, because then you have situations like this. Let me pull it back up here. This was earlier in the stream when a lot of other people weren't here. Let me see if I can pop that back up.
Love to trip on fish, aka RJ, said breeding and selling fish is different. We have wild bettas.
Wild bettas. Wild bettas are nice. Yeah, breeding and selling is different. But even when you're selling them, you still kind of want to have them in a situation where they're at least kind of not what's the word? Not being harmed, not being overly stressed out. But like when you get to like PetSmart, they have way too many bettas than they could actually sell. You just have way too many that don't sell, and you just end up just passing away in the tank. And you definitely don't want to have multiple male bettas in the same tank. Otherwise, you end up like that, and you just have a lot of fighting. You have a lot of fins being bitten, nipped, and all that, and just not a good situation. Oh, I didn't notice this earlier, but there's the other male betta right up there. There's another one right there. Yep. Otherwise, you end up in situations like that. Yeah, let me go back to that now. Go back to my Congo Tetras. Let's see. Daniel says that they've moved their blue female betta from a solitary 5-gallon up to the 15-gallon white cloud tank. It does really well with the white clouds and more space. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know a lot of people say, oh, 5 gallons is perfectly fine enough for a betta, which for the most part they are accurate. A 5 gallon will work as long as you're maintaining it properly, filtering it properly, heating it properly. Although they're definitely gonna love a bigger tank better. Let's see. Yeah, usually they're females. The less of a pain in my butt to have to watch them. Yeah, okay, so you've had them in a community with rice fish, swordtails, guppies, cories, panagaras, juvenile, wonder killies even. Yeah, definitely, definitely. When you do that with any fish, I mean, even fish you think is going to be nice, peaceful fish, you still need to watch them at first. Make sure that they're living, cohabitating properly. But you could throw in a peaceful fish, and they might be picked on. They might be picking on other fish. You definitely, with any fish, you do need to watch them. Probably want to keep them with adult wonder killies. Yeah, a lot of it is just making sure you're keeping fish that are compatible with each other. Bettas are actually compatible with a lot of fish out there. Keep them with rice fish are peaceful enough. Swordtails, guppies could go either way in my opinion. Yes, love to trip on fish. Definitely. Yeah, I'll be fine seeing algae water in a fish store or even my own display tanks. But if I'm walking and eating dinner, I definitely would not want to see that algae in there. Let's see here. Yeah, the 5-gallon is still set up and running well. Planning to do some shrimp in it, but the female betta was very energetic. Okay, yeah. I think that overall, Daniel, I think that's what a lot of people end up finding out. I think a lot of people are just they look at the betta and they just think it's a just an energetic fish. It kind of just move from place to place, but and then they move into a large tank. I think that's a common theme with them. I think that might be a subject that might be expanded on in the future, maybe. Most of the time, tank size helps. The bigger, the better. More plants, the better when mixing these guys. Yeah, with a lot of fish, it's all about sight lines. It's all about keeping sight lines blocked where they have a place to hide. I've kept a pistogramma trios before, a male and 2 females. The big key there is making sure you have 2 areas for the 2 females where their sight lines are blocked, where they can't see each other. Because otherwise, then the 2 females will primarily just kind of want to control their territories. And even with a lot of fish that have aggression, you always want to have sight lines blocked. That way, have hiding areas, whether it be rocks, plants, trees, whatever. You want those sight lines blocked. That way you get them. You get areas where they're not constantly seeing each other. Yeah. 10-gallon might be the smallest size for a betta. In my opinion, the bigger is always better. Bigger is always better. I'm probably not going to knock a person keeping a betta in a 5-gallon. They probably are going to enjoy a larger tank better, though. I mean, honestly, I like larger tanks to begin with. Yeah, definitely want to have a larger tank. That way, they're more energetic. They have more to explore. I think a lot of people with the bettas in the 5-gallon, they're always finding ways. Oh, how to keep their bettas entertained. How to keep them entertained. How to keep them from just kind of sitting in one spot all the time. But this is just from what I've read in the past, and I think a lot of things I've read probably does support that the smallest size is a 10. But then again, yeah, you could feasibly keep them in a 5. Yeah. Let's see. So fish capades never kept that betta anything smaller than 10. They always have tank mates of some sort. Yeah. I think fish do like having tank mates. I think a lot of fish are more social than we put on. But yeah. I don't know about that fish capades. I'm sure the angel would love having a betta in their tank. I think the problem becomes is I don't think the betta is going to love the angel as much. The angel will probably be tearing that betta to shreds. I think that's the issue you're going to have with a betta and an angel tank is the angel's going to go after the betta more than the angel not liking it. Angel fish cannot like a lot of things, and then the other fish don't like them. So then the angels typically attack the other fish. Yeah. All I bet is eliminated the scuds. Yeah, I think a lot of things with any kind of fish is just a matter of just finding the proper tank size for that particular fish. Some fish might not mind the smaller tank, where some other fish might have enjoy the larger tanks. I think that's what you're looking at for the most part. Yeah, longfin varieties is a liability. Yeah, especially if you have them in a community tank, they can become a liability because then you have the issue of running into fin nipping. A lot of fish see those fins and they might, but it really depends on the temperament of the fish in that tank. If you have a lot of fish that don't care about longfin, they really don't pay any attention. You're probably fine with a longfin. They become less of a liability. But then again, it's just a matter of just the personality of the fish in there. Because you could technically have a fish that's a notorious fin nipper, not be a fin nipper, and then you have a fish that's not a known fin nipper become a fin nipper. It's all about their personalities. Yeah, I think you find that with any kind of fish. They're fish capades. You give them a good environment. You give them a place to explore. They become more personable rather than you just cramping them into a small space. Yeah, I really love the colors on my male Congo tetras back there right now. They really colored up nicely. They're really showing their colors this morning. Even on the camera that I'm using right now, they're really showing their colors. Of course, you can see silver-tip tetras floating around. You can see panagars occasionally floating around there. But those Congo tetras are really beautiful. Just looking on the ones on my screen, I'm not even looking back at them right now. Yeah, they're being boisterous. They're being boisterous this morning. But anyways, I'm gonna go head out. I need to do some things this morning. Thanks for everyone for joining this stream. Also, feel free to check out my second channel, which is, the Congo tetras are gorgeous. I do love the way they turned out. If you haven't caught the earlier side of my stream, please rewatch that. I explain my second channel, which is Aquarium Thoughts Fry Tank. That's my second channel, which I'm primarily using to share out shorts that I'm not sharing out on my main channel. My experience is I found that I've had plenty of opportunities to share these wonderful things that would have been wonderful YouTube shorts. I just didn't feel like sharing them out because I didn't want to be detrimental to my main channel with the long form I had out running at the moment. I just find that my shorts really don't perform well enough for that. Excuse me, I need to take a drink before I leave. But definitely, if you have a chance, if you came here late, feel free to rewatch the stream where I go over that as well as my watch hours, which I'm definitely heading in the right direction. Right now I have 1,894, and my main goal right now is to hit 3,000 and then eventually 4,000. So I'm definitely heading in the right direction. A couple days ago I did reach that 1,900 mark, but then of course dropped, but I'll be in 1,900 again shortly. So anyways, everyone, thanks for watching. If you're watching the restream, especially this late in the stream, thank you very much. Definitely feel free to watch what you missed. Anyways, have a great day, and peace out, and see you next week. I figure out my end stream.
The day is done, the lights are low. Gazing at the tank, the world is slow. Little fishies dart and weave. A silent world, I can't believe. Aquarium thoughts, they drift and they sway like the gentle